You ever have one of those moments where someone says something rude out of nowhere and you freeze for a second? It's like your brain's buffering. You're thinking, wait, did they really just say that? Maybe it happened in a meeting, at a family dinner, or even online in a comment section. That one rude remark can throw off your entire mood. You start replaying it in your head, crafting comebacks hours later, or thinking of what you should have said. We've all been there. So today, we're going to talk about how to respond to rude comments, what to say, when to say nothing, and how to stay calm when someone's trying to throw you off balance. Because here's the truth: rude people are everywhere, but your peace doesn't have to be their playground. I'm going to give you 3 powerful ways to handle rude comments with grace, confidence, and control. But more importantly, I want to show you how to protect your peace in the process. Because being calm isn't weakness, it's power. Silent, composed, unshakable power. Rude comments are tests. They're little emotional traps to see if you'll bite. And most of the time, they're not even about you. They're about the person saying them. Their stress, their insecurity, or their need to feel superior for a moment. When someone says something rude, it's like they're handing you a piece of emotional junk. You have a choice: take it and carry it with you all day, or set it down and walk away lighter. But before you can walk away, you need to know what to do in that exact moment. When someone throws that verbal jab, what do? You've got 3 tools. The first one is simple but powerful. Start your response with the phrase, "Did you mean?" Now, I know that sounds soft, but it's strategic. "Did you mean?" is calm curiosity instead of heated confrontation. Let's say someone says to you, "Well, nice of you to finally show up." You could snap back, at least, "I showed up." But then what happens? The tension grows. Now it's a verbal tennis match and you're both losing. Instead, you pause, take a breath, and say, "Did you mean for that to sound rude?" Or, "Did you mean to embarrass me?" That single phrase, "Did you mean?" does 2 incredible things. First, it forces them to think. Most rude comments are reactive, not intentional. People say things they don't even process. When you ask, "Did you mean?" you make them hear their own words again. You're holding up a mirror. Second, it shifts the power. Now you're leading the moment. You're the calm one. They're the one fumbling for an explanation. 9 times out of 10, they'll backtrack. They'll say, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that," or "I was just joking." And even if they did mean it, now they know you caught it without you having to be rude back. That's how you keep your peace and your power in the same moment. And this doesn't just work face to face, it works in text, in emails, at work, everywhere. You ever get that one word text that just sounds cold? You send a message and they reply K or sure. And your brain instantly goes, oh, so we're doing this now? Instead of assuming, try asking, hey, did you mean for that to sound short? It's polite, clear, and it stops the misunderstanding before it turns into unnecessary drama. See, did you mean is your calm superpower? It keeps you in control while letting the other person correct themselves. It's assertive, not aggressive. Now let's move to the second tool. And this one's for those sneaky comments, the passive aggressive ones. You know exactly what I mean. It's the sarcastic tone, the under, the breath jab, the, oh, must be nice to have free time. You both know what they're doing, but they're pretending it's harmless. So, how do you handle that without snapping? You check them with curiosity. Instead of firing back, use phrases like, it sounds like there's more to that, or it seems like something's bothering you. That's it. Calm, direct, and kind, but it lands like truth. Because what you're really saying is, I heard what you just said, and I'm not going to pretend it was fine. For example, imagine a coworker says, wow, must be nice to leave early every Friday. You could respond, it sounds like there's more to that, or it seems like that bothers you. One of two things will happen. Either they'll realize how passive, aggressive they sounded and back down, or they'll open up and tell you what's really going on. Maybe they feel overworked or unseen. Either way, you've kept your dignity and kept the door open for real communication. When you choose curiosity over conflict, you keep control. You're saying, I'm not here to fight. I'm here to understand. And that's something rude people can't handle because their goal is to pull you into the mud. When you stay curious, you stay clean. Now let's talk about my favorite one, silence. The most powerful response to a rude comment is sometimes no response at all. But silence only works when it's intentional. The trick is how you do it. When someone says something rude, you look at them not angry, not smirking, just calm. Hold the eye contact for 4 seconds. Count in your head 1, 2, 3, 4. That pause says everything. It says, I heard that. I considered it. And I've decided it's not worth my energy. It's not avoidance. It's discipline. Silence is how you show someone that their words don't move you. Rude comments are invitations to play a game. Imagine it like a card game. They throw out a rude card. You can either play yours or you can fold. If you play, they'll keep playing, each time upping the intensity until one of you says something that crosses the line. And the one who crosses the line first, that's the one who ends up apologizing. You can avoid that entire trap just by refusing to play. You don't have to win the argument. You just have to win your peace. Sometimes silence speaks louder than the perfect comeback ever could. Now, let's be real. Silence isn't always easy, especially when the rude comment comes from someone close. A friend, a parent, or a coworker you have to see every day. It's hard not to defend yourself. But remember this, your reaction teaches people how to treat you. Every time you respond with calmness instead of anger, you're building boundaries without saying a word. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone says in front of everyone, "Oh, it's nice to see you actually prepared today." The room goes quiet. All eyes turn to you. Your ego wants to clap back, but instead you look at them, hold the silence for 4 seconds, then simply reply, "Did you mean that to sound rude?" You didn't explode. You didn't embarrass yourself. You held your ground and made them rethink their behavior. Everyone in that room now knows you're composed, confident, and not to be messed with. That's leadership. Now, let's dig a little deeper. Rude comments don't just sting because they're rude. They sting because they trigger something inside us. Sometimes it's insecurity. Sometimes it's a memory. Sometimes it's just exhaustion. But the truth is, rude comments only have power if you believe them. Think about it. If someone walked up to you and said, "You're a purple unicorn," you wouldn't get offended. You'd laugh because you know it's not true. So when someone says something rude, the best thing you can do is pause and ask yourself, do I believe that? If not, let it go. Don't absorb what doesn't belong to you. And here's another truth. Sometimes rude people are hurting. That doesn't excuse the behavior, but it explains it. People who feel small try to make others feel smaller. People who feel unseen try to make others uncomfortable. When you understand that, you start to see rude comments differently, not as personal attacks, but as signs of someone else's struggle. That doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you rise above it. You choose not to match their energy. You protect your peace by staying grounded in who you are. Let me share a quick story. I once worked with a client who struggled with a coworker that constantly made snarky remarks, little digs during meetings, sarcastic comments in emails. At first, she'd respond defensively, and every time it turned into tension. But after learning these tools, she started using "did you mean" and silence. The next time that coworker said, "Oh, must be nice to get all the easy projects," she paused, smiled slightly, and said, "Did you mean that the way it sounded?" The coworker stuttered, turned red, and mumbled, "No, no, I was just joking." That was the last time she made a comment like that. It wasn't confrontation that solved it. It was calm confidence. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your power. You don't need to argue to prove your worth. You just need to stay grounded in who you are. Rude comments will never stop. The world is full of people still learning emotional maturity, but you get to decide whether you play their game or lead by example. The next time someone says something rude, stop, breathe, and remember your three tools. First, use "did you mean" to call out intent with curiosity. Second, use "it sounds like" or "it seems like" to check passive aggressive remarks with calm strength. And third, use silence. Those 4 seconds of stillness that speak louder than any comeback ever could. Your peace is your power. Guard it, protect it, lead with it. Not every comment deserves a reaction, but every reaction shapes your reputation. The calmest voice in the room is usually the one in control. So when someone throws you a rude comment, don't trade your composure for their chaos. You're not obligated to match their energy. You're allowed to stay centered, grounded, and gracious because that's real strength. Don't fight for the last word. Fight for your peace. That's how you respond to rude comments. And that's how you win without ever saying a word.